In 2007, the gaming world looked up to the stars with Mass Effect and Halo 3. But Irrational Games and creative director Ken Levine asked us to look somewhere else. They asked us to look down to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. BioShock wasn't just a first-person shooter. It was a philosophy class, a horror story, and a tragedy wrapped in Art Deco, gold, and drenched in seawater. It challenged the very nature of player agency and proved, perhaps more definitively than any game before it, that video games were a legitimate art form. Nearly 2 decades later, the lighthouse still stands, the bathysphere still waits, and the question remains, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? To understand BioShock, you have to understand Rapture. This isn't just a setting. It is a physical manifestation of an ideology. Built by the industrialist Andrew Ryan, Rapture was designed as a utopia free from the parasites of the surface world, government, religion, and altruism. It is a direct critique and exploration of objectivism, the philosophy developed by Ayn Rand. The brilliance of the world building lies in its commitment to this bit. The game doesn't just tell you Rapture failed, it shows you why. You see a society where unfettered capitalism and a lack of moral regulation led to scientific horrors and social collapse. The great chain that Ryan worshipped ultimately strangled the city. Scientists like Dr. Steinman and Yi Shu Chong were given total freedom, leading not to progress, but to grotesque mutilation and the creation of monsters. Visually, the game is a masterclass. The decision to ground the sci-fi elements in a strict Art Deco aesthetic gives Raptures a timeless, haunting beauty. It feels like a 1950s New York preserved in amber, or rather in salt water. The leaking rivets, the flickering neon, the way water physically disrupts the player's vision, it all creates a claustrophobic atmosphere where the ocean is constantly trying to reclaim the city. The environment tells a story of hubris more effectively than any cutscene ever could. Before I started making this video, I had to, obviously replay the game because it has been a while since I played it, but also because I needed to really understand what the game is trying to tell you, what it's trying to show you. And sometimes, just playing the game on its own, you just play it for the story, like the surface level story without, paying attention to what the story is actually trying to tell you. And as I said before, it's a critique on capitalism, individualism, and sometimes it even critiques, other worldviews. And it really shows you the extreme ideologies that whatever thing you believe in can show you, whether it's capitalism, socialism, not everything is a utopia, even though Andrew Ryan wanted it to be. And in the end, it just failed because it was too much of one thing without, restrictions. And, I'm not an expert, I'm just a fucking guy that played the game. So I don't know, I'm not too well informed of all the politics and the philosophy. I just know what the game is trying to tell you. Mechanically, BioShock is a spiritual successor to System Shock 2, blending FPS combat with RPG customization. The core innovation here was the plasmid system. These genetic modifications effectively acted as magic spells, rewriting your DNA to shoot lightning, fire, or bees from your fingertips. The combat encouraged creativity. The famous 1-2 punch, stunning an enemy with electricity and then shattering them with a wrench, was just the beginning. The environment was your weapon. You could electrify the water to kill groups of enemies, melt ice to access new areas, or use telekinesis to throw a splicer's grenade back at them. While the gunplay itself was often criticized for feeling a bit floaty or clunky compared to Halo or Call of Duty, the synergy between plasmids and the environment gave the combat a tactical depth that aged better than the shooting mechanics themselves. And replaying the game nowadays, this game is almost 20 years old at this point. Yeah, the gunplay is a bit dated and it does feel a bit, I wouldn't say it feels clunky, but it does feel like it doesn't feel immersive enough, if that makes any sense, because you can't really ADS, you can't really do anything besides just hip fire and hope the bullets land. I guess for the time it was decent. Again, you know, in 2007, that was what, COD 4? And obviously COD 4 is one of the most fucking popular Call of Duties, you know, that ever existed. And Halo, again, I can't really say much for Halo because I didn't really play Halo a lot back in the day, only recently on PC, and it's kind of different from original Halo to modern Halo, so I'm not gonna get into that because I didn't really play Halo at all as a kid or even now. But comparing BioShock to Call of Duty is kind of unfair because BioShock focuses more on the story, the world building, the characters, than the combat. Obviously, the combat is a big part of the game because, you know, it wouldn't be a video game, an action video game, if you didn't fucking kill shit. But the gunplay isn't the best, but it's not atrociously bad. But the thing that, you know, counters it is the plasmids, you know, the aka magic in the game. And again, it goes back into the lore, to the world building, that because there were no restrictions and scientists can do whatever the fuck they wanted, they created the plasmids so people can modify their genetics and have powers, essentially. Well, not essentially, they did have powers. So I think that aspect is kind of cool because you combined shooting and magic, and that's honestly really fun. If you combine it and be creative with it, it can be really fun. And speaking of gunplay, the things you're actually shooting, the splicers are tragic figures. They aren't just zombies. They are the citizens of Rapture, addicted to Adam. Their minds and bodies twisted by genetic modifications. Listening to them mutter to themselves about their former lives, their lost beauty, or their business rivalries adds a layer of pity to the horror. They are the victims of Ryan's utopia. And when you first start the game, you think, holy shit, I gotta kill these things, they're gonna try to kill me. But once you start learning more about the story, about the world you're, you know, visiting for the first time, well, technically not, spoilers. It's not really their fault. They got fucked by the system that was supposed to be a utopia, that was supposed to be perfect, and it failed them. They got addicted to Adam, and Adam is basically it's okay. In terms of gameplay, Adam are perks. You know, you get Adam and then you buy that Adam with perks. But in the game, like in the game world, Adam is what modifies your body, and you know, people got addicted to that shit, and it messed them up. Not only did they make them, you know, grotesque, like I said before, they basically changed. They're not who they are anymore. They're someone completely different. And speaking of Adam, the game's economy and its moral compass revolves around Adam, the genetic currency of Rapture. To get it, you have to go through the city's most iconic duo, the Big Daddy and the Little Sister. The Big Daddies are a masterpiece of enemy design. Their heavy footsteps, the color-coded lights of their helmets, and their non-hostile nature until provoked create a unique dynamic. You don't just fight them, you hunt them. You prepare traps, stock up on ammo, and initiate the fight on your own terms. This is one of my favorite things from the original BioShock, are the Big Daddies. The design of the Big Daddies is just so... It fits so well to the city of Rapture. It's these dudes, and I don't know if they actually have women Big Daddies. I don't know. Anyway, it's these dudes, right? And their minds are just gone. Like, in the story, you learn that the Big Daddies, their entire self, who they are, it's just gone. It's just rewritten to be the protector of a little sister, harvest Adam, and in exchange, they get some Adam because they're also addicted. Their design is one of my favorite things. They're dressed as time-appropriate diving suits, like these giant helmets with that glass with the bars in between them, but instead of being normal, because obviously Rapture's not a normal place, they're gigantic with weapons, and they're heavy and, you know, intimidating. They're very scary, and fighting them is not easy, especially if you play at a higher difficulty, which I try to do on my most recent playthrough, but it was kind of hard and I kept dying, and it was not really worth it, to be honest. It is a skill issue, but To be fair, you know, it is a survival game. You have to find ammo, you have to find health. Like, it's not just given to you, so it is a skill issue. I admit it's a skill issue. I suck dick, so I went back to normal. But yeah, finding the big daddies was not easy. It's not easy. They have a fuck ton of health, they do a fuck ton of damage, and you're low on ammo, you're low on plasmid, you know, you're low on magic mana, whatever you want to fucking call it. But once you do defeat them, it is rewarding because not only do you get to loot them and you get like good shit from it, but you also get to save, or I guess absorb the little sister. And this is where the moral compass aspect comes in. Once the big daddy is down, you are faced with the game's central moral binary. Harvest the little sister for a large, immediate gain of Adam, killing her in the process, or save her for a smaller immediate reward but a promise of future gratitude. While critics today argue that this choice is too binary and lacks nuance, at the time it was profound inclusion in a mainstream shooter. It essentially gamified empathy. Were you willing to weaken your character in the short term to do the right thing? Or would you embrace the philosophy of rapture and take what you needed to survive? It belongs to you, you conquered, and you take it. So now this is where my personal, I guess any player, it's, you know, it's their own decision, right? Some people do it because fuck, it's a video game, others because it's in their mind or heart, philosophy, whatever. When I play this game, I don't harvest them. I always rescue the little sister for two reasons. One, because me, myself, I legit feel bad killing a fucking little girl who was subject to, you know, she's a victim. She's actually a victim to Ryan's world. And also because gameplay wise, they do reward you. They give you more Adam and more shit later down. The more you rescue, the more rewards you get. But also, at the end of the game, when you fight Atlas, you know, they actually help you. They come in to assist you and finish Atlas off. So the game does kind of push you into helping them because you do get that help, but at the same time, the game pushes you to not help them because you do get more, you know, Adam to spend on perks for yourself. And for me, when it comes to video games, I always try to be the good guy. I don't know if this is because I'm just a pussy or because in real life, I just want to do good or try my best to do good. And I understand a video game is not real, right? It's they're pixels on a screen. It's, you know, it's all fucking code, C++ or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like I have to be the good one. I have to be the hero. I don't have to be. I want to be the hero. I want to be the good guy. A good example of this is Infamous. It's literally you have the choice to be the hero or be the fucking villain. It's in the fucking name. And recently I started playing it again. I haven't completed it or played too much. I only played like an hour. And I still find myself being the good guy. I still want to rescue people. I still want to be the hero. Same thing with like, I wouldn't say Cyberpunk has, you know, good and bad, but you do have the choice to like make, you know, good or bad decisions. And I always pick the good ones. I did tell myself that, you know, if I ever play BioShock again, or if once I finish this playthrough of Infamous, I'll be the villain. You know, I'll be the bad guy to see like different routes and shit. But I don't know. I don't know. I just want to be the good one, the good guy. Now let's move on to arguably one of the biggest twists in gaming, like low key. Because we cannot talk about BioShock without discussing the twist. It is arguably the most famous narrative turn in video game history. For the first 2/3 of the game, you follow the guidance of a helpful Irishman named Atlas, who asks you, would you kindly do this or that? You, the player, obey because it's what you do in a video game. You follow the objective marker. And taking the basic, you know, fundamentals of gaming, of just follow what the NPC tells you, makes it so It's implemented into the story so fucking good. It gets crazy. When you finally confront Andrew Ryan, the rug isn't just pulled out, the floor disintegrates. You learn that you are not a survivor of a plane crash, at the beginning of the game, but a genetically engineered sleeper agent, born in Rapture. The phrase, "would you kindly," was your trigger phrase. Every objective you completed, every person you killed, you did so not because you chose to, but because you were programmed to. And learning that the first time you ever play this game is just fucking mind-blowing. Like, what the fuck? This entire time, you weren't just some fucking guy. You were like the guy. Like, you actually were meant to be in Rapture. You were supposed to be there from the beginning, and you were there from the beginning. That's why in the beginning of this video I did. I mean, if you played the game, you've known from the start. In the beginning of the video, I did say that technically it wasn't your first time in Rapture because, again, the player, you were born in Rapture. And finding that out, for the first time playing the game at the end, it is fucking cool. It is one of those memorable things that happens in gaming, because not a lot of memorable things happen in gaming, to be fair, but when it does, it hits you really fucking hard. This moment is genius because it breaks the fourth wall without breaking immersion. It comments on the linear nature of games themselves. We, the players, are the slaves. We mindlessly follow waypoints. Andrew Ryan's death, where he orders you to kill him to prove his point, is the ultimate victory of his philosophy. He dies a free man, choosing his death, while you live as a slave, holding the smoking golf club. It recontextualizes the entire medium of first-person shooters. Like, it's so meta that the game itself is telling you you're a fucking slave to any game you play, because you can't progress through a story. You can't, obviously, exceptions, aka like fucking like Minecraft. But even then, Minecraft, you still technically have to beat the fucking, dragon. But anyway, I'm getting too off topic when I don't read the script. It's meta because without following the waypoints, the objectives, the missions, the quests, without them, you can't beat the game. You can't progress the story. You don't have free will. And Andrew Ryan, he tells you, kill me. I choose for you to kill me. And you have to. Because you're a fucking slave. As a player, you have to kill him because you won't beat the game without killing him. But as, the character you're playing as has to kill him because he's programmed to fucking kill him. If BioShock has a flaw, it is the third act. After the death of Andrew Ryan and the revelation of Atlas as the villain Frank Fontaine, the game loses some of its philosophical steam. It devotes into a fetch quest, becoming Big Daddy, and concludes with a somewhat generic final boss fight that relies on standard video game tropes, the very thing the rest of the game tried to subvert. Now, when I played the game, it's not that it becomes shit after Ryan dies. I get what the game was trying to go for with Frank Fontaine being Atlas, or Atlas being whatever, vice versa, whatever. From a story standpoint, it makes sense, right? Atlas was always trying to get revenge on Ryan because Ryan fucked him in the past because of his business or whatever. So he takes out the mantle of Atlas, pretend that he's dead as Frank Fontaine. So it makes sense that he's the actual true villain of the game. But it does kind of like undermine Ryan as the main villain of the game and the philosophy and the story that the game is trying to tell you. I get that. But in my honest opinion, it's not like a huge detriment to the game because it's still pretty good. Like, it's another twist. There you go. It's another fucking twist that is thrown at you. All this time you thought Atlas was your friend, but well, holy shit, turns out he's also another villain. Okay, so like, even though I did, acknowledge that some people didn't think the ending was kind of good, I still liked it. I still think it didn't break the immersion. It didn't ruin the fucking game. But it is there. But despite a weaker ending, the legacy of BioShock is untouchable. It popularized the term ludonarrative dissonance, the conflict between a game's story and its gameplay. It proved that its environmental storytelling, telling a story through audio logs, graffiti, and corpse placement, etc., could be just as compelling as cutscenes. It paved the way for the immersive sim, renaissance, and influenced narrative design in games like The Last of Us, Control, and Dishonored. Last of Us, obviously a goated game, even though it has a bunch of controversies, but that's mostly like right-wing bigot shit. But, there is some valid criticism there sometimes. Control, I did try playing it. I got fucking bored. Now, okay, the thing about Control, another side tangent, the gameplay is kind of fun. The story is very mysterious, and the story is really cool. If you look at like a breakdown video, you'll find interest in it. But for me personally, the gameplay got a bit too repetitive and just got kind of boring. Like, maybe it's a hot take, maybe I'm in the wrong, but I think Control is kind of boring. Dishonored, another goated game. I haven't played that shit in a long time, so I can't really say much about it because I honestly don't remember too much about it. But it was. I know it's good. It's a really good game. BioShock remains a tiring achievement. It is a game that respects the player's intelligence, asking them to engage with political philosophy, moral ethics, and the nature of free will, all while fighting off drug-addicted mutants with a wrench. It is a terrifying, beautiful, and intellectual descent into madness that has never truly been replicated. Andrew Ryan built a city where the artist would not fear the censor, and the scientist would not be bound by petty morality. In doing so, he created a nightmare. But Irrational Games built a masterpiece, and we all kindly follow them down into rapture. So, what did you think about BioShock? What do you think? Do you agree with what I said? Did you disagree? Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, or if you want to add on to the video. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And yeah, I'll try to upload more often than I am right now. But yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.